it going, guys? Welcome back to Stihl Small Engine Saloon. This is going to be a nice quick one for you, a nice simple video. This job is going to take you about half a beer. This is how to fine-tune the carburetor on a Weedeater. This is if you've already done a tune-up on it. It runs okay. It's got low speed, high speed screw on there. Do not do this on a chainsaw. This is for Weedeaters, specifically obviously this model. This works on other Weedeaters too. If you have the low speed and high speed screw on there, little handheld leaf blowers, whatnot, don't do this on a chainsaw. Now I took the air filter cover off, the air filter housing off, and put those nuts back on there to hold the carburetor back on, just so I can get my camera in there a little bit tighter, so I can show you actually what I'm doing in there. When you do this, make sure all that stuff is back on. First thing I want you to do is make sure that this line is out all the way. You don't want little tiny lines coming out of your Weedeater like this. Changes the load on your engine. You want to bump that line out so it's right down at the cutter, right down so it's as long as that line can go. Next thing I want you to do, get those limiter caps off of there. If you have this exact model right here, what you're going to need is a flat screwdriver, a big flat screwdriver like this. You simply just put that screwdriver in there like that and twist it, and it'll pop that limiter cap off of there. Same thing on the other side. Twist it and pop that limiter cap off of there. If you've already been messing with those screws and the thing doesn't run right, here's what I want you to do. Take your little screwdriver and turn both of those screws in, all the way in till they're lightly seated. Don't screw them in too tight, you can damage the carburetor. Just turn them both in till they're nice and tight. I wouldn't even say tight, lightly seated. Now turn both of those screws back out 1 1/4 turns. Now your unit right there with this model right here should run idle fine at 1 1/4 turns, and we're going to fine tune it from there. Next thing we're going to do, now we're going to start this thing up. Now safety first, a couple safety precautions right here. I have a 3-bay shop. I have all 3 of my doors open. I have 2 huge windows on this side of the shop. I got a fan blowing through. I have better ventilation in this shop than I do outside right now. Don't start this thing in an enclosed area. Take it outside to do this. Put some earmuffs on to do this. It's not going to hinder you from hearing what I'm going to show you. You'll still be able to hear the difference in what I'm about to show you with earmuffs on. Now we're going to do the high-speed screw first. Now I know that there's a lot of you guys out there that actually know what you're doing, and you're going to go, hey, wait a second, that's backwards. You do the low speed first. I agree with that for chainsaws. I do 5 or 6 of these a day. This works perfectly. Do the high speed screw first. The high speed screw is the one that's furthest away from your engine and the one that's closest to your air filter. Here's how we set that high speed screw. Start the engine up, you already got it warmed up. Punch that trigger down, run it as fast as it can. Hold that trigger down so it's running as fast as it can. Little carb screwdriver, start turning that high speed screw in and out until you find that spot where it's running the fastest. When you find that spot, start unscrewing the screw slowly until you hear the RPMs just start to drop. When you hear those RPMs just start to drop, start turning it back in again slowly till you hear those RPMs just come up to where it's making that humming sound. That's where you want that high-speed screw set at. You're favoring the rich side a little bit. And I'm going to switch to a close-up right now with the audio on so you can see me do that. You can see and hear me do that and how that's supposed to work. So here's how we do the low speed screw. Similar to the high speed screw, except we're not punching that trigger down. We're just letting it idle. If it doesn't idle, turn your idle screw in until it does idle. Keep on going in and in and in until it is idling. If your line head is turning, don't worry about that right now. Just don't pull that trigger. Let it idle even if it's idling a little fast. Similar to the high-speed screw, we're going to start turning that low-speed screw in and out until we find that little sweet spot where it's idling the fastest. Now start turning that low-speed screw out very slowly until you hear those RPMs just start to drop. Now leave it there. Not like the high-speed screw. Don't turn it back in. You want that low-speed screw turned out to where that RPM is just starting to drop. That's perfect. Favoring it on the rich side a little bit. You're going to have great acceleration when you actually punch that trigger. It's going to come right up to RPM. That's where you want that. If your line head's still turning, just unscrew that idle screw until the clutch just stops engagement. You want it running, fast enough, but so your line head's not still turning. If it doesn't react like how I just told you it's going to react, there's something else wrong with this unit. This is just for fine tuning. And that's it. Little subscribe button down here in the bottom right hand corner again. If you liked it, maybe I saved you some money, hit that like button. Hopefully I did. Steve out.